Before I bring up our incredible MC for the evening, I kind of wanted to let you know that, hey, this is a relaxed evening. Yeah, a little bit high class, a little bit aloha, whatever is going on. And it's obvious, right? I'm from Hawaii. You're going to have the aloha here. And we're on the Hawaii street, so why not? So you got the Hawaiian music as well. You got a great evening, but Tim will tell you all about that, and I'll bring him up. But a couple of things I wanted to maybe start off the evening, just to share with you that it's a relaxed evening. And as everyone knows from EDAC and the City Council, I always start our meetings off with a joke. So you got to laugh, okay? I learned this one recently, about a year ago, actually. It's about a woman who is on her way to heaven. She dies and she goes to heaven, and before she gets to the pearly gates, St. Peter says to her, hey, Mary, you need to spell a word before you can get into heaven. She says, oh, okay. And so she says, what's the word? He says, love. Oh, okay, how do you spell that? Love. Great. Welcome to the pearly gates. So Mary gets into the pearly gates. She's sitting there and wandering around and with the angels and all the rest of them. And St. Peter comes back to her and says, Mary, I need help at the pearly gates here because I need to do other things. Can you monitor the gates for me for a couple of minutes until I get my job done? She says, oh, I'd love to do that. So she goes to the gate. She's monitoring the gates and asking people, you got to spell a word before you get in. They're all going through. And then up comes this guy. It happens to be her ex-husband. She says, what happened to you? Oh, heart attack. Oh, too bad. But you need to spell a word before you get in. He says, yeah, so give me that word. Czechoslovakia. Obviously, he's still waiting at the pearly gates. One more joke and I'll bring in. So I'm just kind of telling you, this is the kind of way the evening is going. We're not going to be really formal, and yet we are at times going to be formal. And but we want you to enjoy yourselves. So we want you to enjoy the evening as well. We got some great things happening for you tonight. A husband takes his wife to her high school reunion, and after meeting all her friends and everything, former schoolmates, he's sitting at the table and he's kind of bored of what's going on, and the band cranks up and people are beginning to dance and so forth. And there's this one guy who is just living it up. He's on the dance floor at large, break dancing, moonwalking, backflip, buying people drinks, the works. The wife turns to her husband and says, see that guy over there? Yeah. 25 years he proposed to me, and I turned him down. Husband says, looks like he's still celebrating. With that, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Mr. Tim Harris from the Lakers.
Thank you, and good evening. You never want to follow the nicest guy in the room. You certainly don't want to follow the worst joke in the room. My name's Tim Harris. I'm the president of the Lakers, and we're a little basketball team that practices down the road. And I'm excited to be your MC tonight. Thank you. I'm excited to be your MC tonight for the Champions of Business celebration. We got a fun evening for you. We really encourage you. I think Al kind of touched on this, but we encourage you to relax, loosen your tie. The more you drink, the funnier I get. But we really are going to have a good time, and we're very fortunate that Vistamar has graciously allowed us to use their facilities tonight. And to help kick off the evening, I want to introduce Vistamar's head of school, Dr. Karen Eshu, please.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Vistamar School. We're so honored and happy to have you with us this evening to celebrate this great event. This is an event we really love to host because it's a hometown event, and we're always so proud to be a member of the City of El Segundo. So thank you so much for spending your time with us this evening. I want to invite my student, Aiden Stenson, up to the mic. Aiden is a senior here at Vistamar. I keep looking at him and thinking he's a freshman, but he's actually a senior now. So Aiden is going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Aiden, over to you.
Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thanks. And enjoy your evening, everybody. Thanks so much for coming.
Thank you, Karen. So, I want to share a story with you. You know, some months ago, I got a call from Barbara and Al, and they said, you know, Tim, we would like to talk to you about the Lakers participating in this event. And I said, you know, and the City of El Segundo has been so incredibly supportive in our efforts to build a training center. I said, of course, we'd love to participate. What can we do? I said, well, you know, when is this event? And they said, well, it's Thursday the 28th. And I said, well, okay, that's a good night, but I just need to, you know, get right out of the gate that camp starts on Monday, and so I guarantee I won't be able to deliver any players. And they said that's fine. We understand that, you know, camp's happening and the guys are practicing. And I said, well, is there a way we can participate as a sponsor or some way? And she, you know, Barbara and Al said, sure, we'd love to have your support. And I said, so just send me something and we'll get that going. And, you know, what else can we do? And they said, well, you know, Tim, we'd like you to speak. And I said, oh gosh, you know, I love speaking at events, and, you know, what would you like me to speak about? And they said, well, Tim, we'd like you to MC. And I said, oh, you'd like me to speak about being an MC? And they said, no, we want you to actually MC the thing. And I got to tell you, I've done a lot of things in my life, and I'm proud to say that, folks, we're on our first journey here with Tim Harris. You know, with Tim Harris as the, you know, Captain Harris as the MC here. And so I started thinking, you know, when you're involved with the Lakers, a lot of things come your way. And I started thinking about some of the things I've done sort of as a first time, and these are all true stories. You know, years ago I was offered the opportunity, and I did this, and it was the most amazing experience. I was able to sit in the dugout for the Montreal Expos when the great Frank Robinson was the manager. He invited me to sit in the dugout when the Expos came to play the Dodgers, and I was in full uniform, and I was able to sit in the dugout for an entire game. And, you know, this is something I would obviously never been able to do had I not known Frank from the Lakers. And after we won a championship in 2000, I was offered the opportunity to take a ride on a nuclear submarine. True story. I was offered the opportunity to take a ride on a submarine, and they, you know, I'm sitting in the sort of the main area there where the periscope is, and they said, hey, Tim, you want to drive? And I said, you want me to drive this nuclear submarine? And they said, yeah, you want to drive? And so we're 300 feet down, and I said, what do you want me to do? And I sat in this thing with this 18-year-old kid behind me, and I said, what would you like me to do? And they said, well, we're at 300 feet. You're going to take us to 800 feet down aboard a nuclear submarine. And I did it. You know, I literally did it. And of course, you know, given the success of the team, I've had the opportunity to visit the White House a couple of times, which, you know, prior to now was something you didn't debate. But when I was offered this chance to MC, it's something I've never done before. And so I thought, well, I have to prepare for this because I don't completely want to blow it. So I did what all of us would do, all true professionals do when they're faced with a challenge that they don't know the answer to, I went to WikiHow. And I typed in how to be a good MC. And WikiHow came back, and basically there was a lot of answers and a lot of participation. But basically, WikiHow told me, essentially that you need to be charismatic, and you need to stay on time. That those are the two most important things of being a good MC. And I shared that with my wife. I said, they're going to want me to be charismatic, and they're going to want me to be on time. And my wife said, honey, I have to be honest with you. When people see you coming, they think tank commander. They don't think charisma. So you might want to just focus on that stay on time thing. So it's with that in mind that tonight we are going to be punctual. But for the fact, I'm a little bit conflicted here because our main honoree, who I have to be honest with you, pays part of my paycheck, has pushed us a little late. So I might be pushing us along a little bit in order to get done on time so that I actually fulfill my duties as the MC. So with that in mind, I'd like to welcome back to the stage the comedic stylings of Mr. Al Kiahi, who is the chief of the El Segundo Economic Development Advisory Council. How big is that business card? And Barbara Voss, who is the El Segundo Economic Development Manager.
Script?
Yeah, you do the script. I'm not going to let him go off script. Okay, here we go.
Well, aloha, everyone, and welcome. Aloha. And mahalo, and thank you for being here tonight. As Tim mentioned, I am the chair of the El Segundo Economic Advisory Council, better known as EDAC. I'm also a resident, former business owner and entrepreneur, and my wife Carol and I have been here for this city for over 32 years. Standing with me is Barbara Voss, the Economic Development Manager of the City of El Segundo, and a partner that I've been working with in the past couple of years. Together, Barbara and I will share some highlights in the area of economic development that may be of interest to you. Before doing that, we'd like to also recognize the many other commissions that are part of the economic engine of this city. There's the Parks and Rec Committee, there's the Planning Commission, the Arts and Culture Committee, there's the El Segundo Downtown Committee, there's the IT or Tech Committee, just to name a few. And the numerous volunteers that give of their time. Mahalo from all of us at the EDAC team. We recognize familiar faces tonight in the audience. And as I said, tonight we are on Hawaii Street, so why not the Aloha Spirit, the tea leaf lays, and the Hawaiian music. Script. Hawaii is known as the melting pot of the Pacific, where a myriad of ethnic cultures blend together while maintaining the aloha spirit and carrying out Hawaii's renowned hospitality for the visitor industry. El Segundo has similarities. Since it's a mix of established global businesses, from the aerospace and defense industry to one of the largest toy manufacturers and other Fortune 500 companies. World-renowned sports teams such as the Los Angeles Lakers, the LA Kings, blended with tech startups, biomedical, healthcare, to name a few, making El Segundo what seems to me to be the melting pot of Southern California. All these businesses create a very diverse family, or ohana as we say in Hawaiian. We deliver a business-friendly atmosphere, having been recognized by the LA Eddie twice. Tonight, as we continue this great tradition of celebrating the business feats of the city, take time to thank our 2017 honoree, Dr. Patrick Soon-Siong, and his contributions, and look to the next round of innovators that will lead this city forward. I am reminded how far the Economic Development Advisory Council, better known as EDAC, has come in the last 3 years. Our primary objective towards creating a conducive business culture that attracts business and retains the best and brightest entrepreneurs and businesses in the world is being achieved every day.
Good evening. I was asked to share the story of EDAC, and I have to say that there's nothing on WikiHow about how to share the story of EDAC, so I'll stick to the script. I'd like to present in a quick overview of how it's, in its advisory capacity, it has assisted in improving economic development engine of the city. EDAC began in 1995 by then Mayor Carl Jacobson, who's here this evening. The concept was to bring together business leaders from different industries to advise City Council on economic development-related issues. The original stakeholders included Richard Lundquist, a very prominent developer, Bob Gray, a small business owner, Bill Goodglick, a commercial real estate broker, and Brian Polkinghorn, a commercial real estate broker and also the former chair of EDAC. In 2013, there was a renewed interest to expand and revitalize economic development efforts by the City Council and Sandy Jacobs, a former mayor and businesswoman. Drew Boyles, business owner, entrepreneur, and now mayor pro tem, and Al Kiahi were asked to join EDAC. As experienced business leaders, the team quickly recognized the need to enhance the El Segundo brand and position the city to be on the cutting edge of economic development, particularly in the areas of business retention and business attraction. They decided that it was important to not be lumped together with the communities such as Silicon Beach or the West Side. They felt that the El Segundo experience was unique. Our architecture, our history, our diverse mix of businesses is unlike any other community. They wanted El Segundo to have its own identity, and I believe they have accomplished that goal. EDAC's initial goals included reducing commercial vacancy levels, which were relatively high at the time, and attracting and retaining businesses, as well as improving the brand awareness of El Segundo and creating the now familiar tagline, where big ideas take off.
I actually liked it when Dr. Soon-Siong even mentioned that in his speech the other day when he was opening the center. So we continue to attract attention to what El Segundo has to offer with PR support and increased tactical initiatives to the greater Los Angeles brokers, developers, and business owners. And now we're venturing into an increased awareness of El Segundo as a destination for LA visitors through a digital ad campaign. In the world of marketing, our ad dollars are small. But with the help of Chevron and Continental Development Corporation, who believes in our initiatives and goals, we were able to garner enough financial assistance to implement our action plans. Over the last 3 years of work, commercial office vacancy levels are down by 5%, from a little over 16% to 11%. This in turn leads to increased tax revenue for the city through added tax dollars or business taxes and interested in more increased traffic to our local businesses. We believe El Segundo is now part of the conversation as we look to compete favorably with other cities in LA. Simultaneously, while the team worked together in developing and implementing an action plan, we went on a mission to recruit a section of individuals consisting of various business sectors to include hospitality, commercial and residential real estate, tech firms, aerospace, manufacturing, developers, and marketing professionals. We'll be introducing you in a few moments to this great team who enthusiastically joined EDAC. There's no single fact that helps quantify some of our success. However, 3 years after launching the 100 at a 100 campaign, attracting 100 new businesses by this, our centennial year, 2017, nearly 200 new businesses have come to El Segundo. Congratulations to all, and thank you everyone that has been a part of making this goal a reality. 2 years ago, the city hired a key individual in Barbara Voss and the city as the city's economic development manager. She's taken the baton and leads the strategy with the EDAC team as her advisors. In the last few months, EDAC has developed 4 new goals that have been reviewed and embraced by the City Council, and we look forward to collaborating on each of these goals. EDAC will focus on 4 areas of potential business. 1, business retention and expansion. 2, new business attraction. 3, hospitality and tourism. And 4, strategic and forward planning. As a group, EDAC has committed to educating ourselves beyond our individual areas of expertise and making effective recommendations to the City Council. We plan to implement an agreed-upon strategy and digital ad campaign to continue to reduce vacancy levels with an additional focus on destination marketing, to improve our market share in visitor arrivals, to support our hotels, our restaurants, our retail centers, the arts and culture. Our hope is that these efforts will increase tax revenues for the city, in turn benefiting the residents. That, in short, is the EDAC story, and it is to be continued.
I wanted to add a thank you to all of the EDAC members for your commitment to economic development in El Segundo. Your guidance and expertise has been invaluable to me as Economic Development Manager and to the city's overall economic development efforts. I'd like to take a moment to recognize the members of EDAC. If you could just raise your hand when I call your name, and then please hold your applause to the end. The EDAC members are Alex Abad Real Estate, Spencer Bauer, Aerospace Consultant, Lily Craig, Chevron, Rob Croxall, El Segundo Brewing Company, Van Espabodi, Starburst Accelerator, Shar Franklin, Embassy Suites, Bob Gray, Brand Via, Bob Healy from CBRE, Gary Horowitz from JLL, Sandy Jacob, who's our Vice Chair, Richard Lundquist, Continental Development Corporation, Mike Mothner, W Promote, Lance Rawls from Belkin International, and Al Kiahi, our chair, who has dedicated countless hours to our community and is an invaluable resource to EDAC and the city's economic development program. Thank you, Al, for your leadership and commitment.
Wow.
And thank you all for your service. Let's give our EDAC members a round of applause. I'd also like to thank our city council, city leadership, and all city staff. City manager Greg Carpenter always says that economic development is the job of every city employee. And this core value really shows in all of our departments. We're working every day to perform at the highest level to serve our business community. Joining us this evening, Police Chief Bill Whalen, Planning and Building Safety Director Sam Lee, Finance Director Joe Lilio, Recreation and Parks Director Meredith Pettit, Planning Manager Greg McLean, and Revenue Manager Juliana Demers. And I'd also like to thank the El Segundo Chamber of Commerce, the lovely ladies who were at the checkout table, sorting out your tables and getting everyone organized this evening, Marcia Hansen and Linda Johnson. Let's give them all a round of applause.
El Segundo, this is where big ideas take off. The idea of Champions of Business event began back in 2014 when we congratulated the world champion LA Kings for their Stanley Cup win and bringing El Segundo to the national spotlight. We followed that up the following year with the Champions Business Award to Federal Realty and The Point, following their investment of over $300 million in the city of El Segundo. And last year, we honored Richard Lundquist of Continental Development Corporation, who's not here tonight. Tonight marks another endeavor towards these awards with our recognition of Dr. Soon Siang and his contributions and investment in our city. Allow me to share that this event would not happen without the tireless efforts of private business people and corporate contributions and a wonderful community. Mahalo to you all. And here's our city's story from the perspective of someone many of you may know, but who we all can relate to in regard to El Segundo. Alex?
El Segundo is my community. A place where I built my business. A place where I can work, play, and launch big ideas. It's won a few awards for being the most business-friendly city in Los Angeles County. The taxes are low, leases affordable, and permits surprisingly hassle-free. But calling it business-friendly doesn't quite cut it. With a high concentration of Fortune 500 companies, it's got all the major players. And you can still find free parking spots when you go to lunch. El Segundo is right next to one of the busiest airports on the planet, but it's managed to maintain a small town sort of charm. Having a business here, I get the inspiration that comes from working with other business leaders. Through my affiliation with the El Segundo Economic Development Advisory Council, I regularly brush shoulders with real estate developers, aerospace giants, restaurateurs, startups. And the cross-pollination that results from that is astounding. What I love about this city is the sense of community, the support, creativity, professionalism, and the fact that I have a say in how to best support the business community. We're on the verge of some really exciting advances in technology, medicine, and creativity. Being part of it all, I grew up in El Segundo, I opened my business in El Segundo, and my kids go to school in El Segundo. Couldn't imagine having my business anywhere else. El Segundo, the community where big ideas take off.
Al, Barbara, great stuff. That was really good. You know, it's not very often that we all attend these dinners, and we're invited to come, and we tell our spouses or our loved ones, I have to go and eat some chicken and broccoli and that little carrot cake with the little carrot thing on top, and we say, I have to go to this thing because I have to go to this thing. But what's kind of cool about tonight is you're the honorees. Everyone in this room is the honorees because we're here to celebrate you, the business community of El Segundo, which I guess is me too. Because we continue to give back to the economic vitality of this city. And for those of you who've been here for a little while, you've seen the growth and you've seen what's going on in this town. The expansion, it's you guys. The philanthropy, it's in the room. And just the dedication to boosting this El Segundo brand is so impressive, and all of you have played such a huge role. And, it's made El Segundo the most business-friendly city in Los Angeles County. So you got to give yourselves a hand. Come on, give yourselves a hand. Now, I'm going to embarrass a few in the room because I'm going to make them stand up. But before I do, I just want to say that when, from a personal story, when the Lakers went through this, we'd never built anything. If you think about it, we didn't build the Forum. Our ownership didn't build the Forum. Jack Kent Cooke did. We didn't build Staples Center. That was an Anschutz venture. We didn't build the old training center. And so we had an opportunity to build something. So we were new. And so we were dealing with the city and how to get that done. And I want to tell you, if you're spreading the word on getting something done in El Segundo, it is extremely pain-free and extremely helpful, that the help we got from the city to get this through. And so beyond the fact that we want to acknowledge these folks, it's a thanks from the Laker organization for helping it. And I want to start with Mayor Suzanne Fuentes. Come on, stand up. You got to stand up. Mayor Pro Tem Drew Boyles. Councilman Mike Dugan. Councilwoman Carol Perstruck. Councilman Dr. Don Braun. And this guy did a ton of heavy lifting for us, City Manager Greg Carpenter. So now we're going to eat. We're going to bring out the chicken. We're going to bring out the broccoli. We'll give you a little chance to enjoy, and then we'll be back to continue with the show. I want to tell you a little story. A couple of years ago, 3-4 years ago, the Lakers, who had been residing at the Toyota Sports Center as a tenant, we decided that we wanted to have our own facility. You know, we'd sort of grown out of the one we were operating out of. You know, it had become kind of a kit car. You know, we were sort of adding on just to make it work, but it really wasn't working. And from a brand standpoint, you know, you had to pay somebody to find the word Lakers on the outside of that thing. And so we decided let's build our own. And we really enjoyed the city of El Segundo. We liked the feel we got from the city. We liked the fact that it was close to LAX. A lot of our players live nearby. And so we wanted to find a place in El Segundo where we could call home. And so we enlisted the talents of Bob. Have you seen the Swampland Healy? And Bob was really a real good driver in helping us find the site where we are now. And I have to tell you, we moved in the 1st of August. The guys started training camp this week, and the energy is amazing. Like, the energy of this facility is amazing. And the way we designed it is the court is in the middle of the building. So, you know, as we view it, it's the heart of the building. And it really pumps everything we do. And so I thought I would indulge you a little bit and share with you, for those of you who haven't seen it, a little bit of the inside of what we built in El Segundo. And we are so proud to be a part of this city, but we thought we'd share a little bit of video of what the training center looks like.
The UCLA Health Training Center stands in El Segundo as one of the exemplary state-of-the-art sports training facilities in all of sports.
Working with UCLA Health as well, it's really nice to see different branding. The court's beautiful, and really that's why we're here, is to obviously make sure that our basketball team has a state-of-the-art place. So the technology, the video boards, and everything are amazing.
Building upon a symbiotic relationship between the Lakers and UCLA Health, focusing on community, educational, and research efforts with injury prevention and sports performance for the Lakers.
It's amazing, you know, it's state of the art. I think it's the class for the league, and it was great to come in today and just christen it.
Another place you can call home. A lot of space, you see the courts. Locker room is crazy, beautiful. Big weight room. Just give us a lot of space to work, spend some time here, and make guys not want to leave, stay in here.
best in class is what I think the Bus family has stood for, what Magic, how he's run his companies, and I think now we feel like we've got the best world headquarters of basketball anywhere on the globe, and it's very attractive. Like we've said before, this platform, living here with the business relationships you can form here, the lifestyle, the weather, and now a building that you can perfect yourself in as a basketball player, it's just unbelievable.
So when we decided to build a new training center, and we decided to build a new training center here, you know, one of the driving forces behind it was recruitment. We see this building as an opportunity for us to recruit free agents and bring talent to our city and our team. And this is sort of the heart of what is going to do that for us. But we need your help. We need you to grow around us, because when we bring free agents to us, and we want to show the growth that the city is undertaking. And so this is part of why we're here. So, you know, moving along, we want to start with the awards. And tonight's first award is the Big Idea Award, and this honors the exciting business in the area that's reshaping the world through its innovations. So I'd like to welcome to the stage to present this award Mayor Pro Tem Drew Boyles.
Thank you very much. Not going to lie, it's a little disconcerting to follow everybody's favorite brewer, Rob Croxall, everybody's favorite Hawaiian, and the longest-standing interim chair of Economic Development Advisory Council, Al Kiahi, and then the president of the Lakers. Anyway, my name is Drew Boyles. It gives me great honor to introduce the winner of the Big Idea Award. And as a former member of the Economic Development Advisory Council, this award is near and dear to my heart. And a quick story, about 3 or 4 years ago, Al Kiahi, Sandy Jacobs, and all the great people that you heard about earlier were in one of our meetings. And prior to that, a friend of mine, a mutual friend of the people that are about to receive this award, a guy by the name of Ben Marcus, who's creating the airspace for drones, essentially, breakthrough idea. He said, you know, there's a company out of Paris you really ought to get to meet. I know you're looking for new businesses in El Segundo. They've been doing like a dog and pony show in LA. El Segundo's on their short list. You should talk to them. So we had them come in and present to one of our meetings. You remember that, Al? Lo and behold, they sit down, they do a 20-minute presentation. Everybody is blown away with everything that they've done in Paris and their vision for Los Angeles by way of El Segundo. And Richard Lundquist, who's not here tonight, unfortunately, but won an award that I was very fortunate to present to him last year. He raised his hand, said, do you guys need space? Because I'd love for you to have space in my building. He got it right away. This is the next evolution, next iteration of aerospace in El Segundo in the country. So the winner of the Big Idea Award tonight, they're an innovation catalyst in the aerospace industry. They're the first and only global aerospace accelerator, providing growth investment opportunities. Startups, corporations, investors, and governments. I've been fortunate enough to been to one of these events at Boeing and Raytheon. They basically have a couple hundred people in the audience and probably 5 to 10 aerospace-related businesses pitch their ideas. And what's so cool about it, having been an entrepreneur myself and for a long time, is that it's different than pitching a business. They're pitching their businesses to Fortune 500 companies who are saying, I want to be part of that innovation, that R&D. Incredible concept. They were founded in Paris, but they now have offices in El Segundo, Montreal, Munich, San Francisco, and Singapore. They have built a significant global startup network to help launch innovative aerospace, aviation, and defense businesses. I'd like to welcome Francois Chopard and Van Espobadi, who will be accepting the award for Starburst Accelerator. Congratulations. We're going off script now.
Yeah, so I'm going to be very quick, of course, to respect the timing, but I really want to thank the El Segundo city, Suzanne, and the EDAC Council, of course, Richard and his organization and his partner. They've been amazing. And what strikes me the most when we arrived here is that all the people we met, they were all interested in our success. So, and for me, for a French guy, that was quite amazing and impressive. That other people were willing for me to succeed and ready to help us to establish here and have some great business, which does not happen that often in Europe and especially in Paris. So thank you again. And yeah, so what you said, we arrived here, we were just a couple of people in Paris with a few success. But then since we set up our base in El Segundo and in the US, we experienced a major growth. We are now a team of 30 people, 6 locations. And just a couple of figures. For the last 3 years, we have accelerated 180 startups. Out of these 180, 50% raise money in a range of 5 to 10 million, which is, again, quite impressive. And then you're going to tell me, but come on, 180 startups in the aerospace industry, that's a lot. You probably know the SpaceX, maybe the Virgin Galactics and some others, but yeah, there's a quite huge number of entrepreneurs who wants to break into the aerospace and space industry, and it's very exciting. From startups that want to build rockets, satellites, even space stations. We've seen also startups working on the next supersonic aircraft, the next Concorde, the next hybrid aircraft, the next flying cars. We've been in touch with maybe 70 startups developing what they call electrical vertical takeoff and landing vehicle, which is basically flying cars and heavy drones. So it's been very exciting for the last 3 years. I want to thank Van, also amazing partners that has done a great job and is really the anchor of El Segundo. And thanks again.
Thank you.
Good job, guys. You got to give me a moment here. I got to collect myself because kind of pissed off about that great hair that he has. So, just a second. The French thing. I'd like to welcome back to the stage Al and Barbara, and they're going to introduce this year's Entrepreneur of the Year Award.
The Entrepreneur of the Year Award honors an individual who was willing to give up a comfortable corporate job to follow his dreams. And how many of us have thought about that? To follow his dreams, to take on the risk of starting a new business. Rob Croxall spent many years in the aerospace industry before leaving to launch El Segundo Brewing Company. He started his brewery on Main Street in downtown El Segundo in 2010. Over the years, he has grown his business from producing 60 barrels a month to more than 500 today. He has opened a very popular tasting room at his brewery, and he continues to expand his business while staying true to his El Segundo roots.
As you saw in the video earlier, Rob is a lifelong resident of El Segundo, and his love of the community shows from the dedicated service to EDAC, to coaching softball and baseball, to his support of numerous charities in town. Rob sends his regrets that he's not able to attend here tonight. He's en route to Washington State for an early morning meeting to select his hops for next year's batch. I'd rather be there selecting that batch too. An award-winning El Segundo Brewing Company. Accepting on his behalf It's my pleasure to introduce Rob's dad, Dick Croxall. Congratulations, Rob, and the El Segundo Brewing Company.
You get the award.
You get the award.
Yeah, she's got it. Okay. Okay.
Should I,
Here, I want to hold it for you?
sure,
Okay. There you go.
okay. What am I gonna do with this?
I'll hold it. Here, go ahead. I'll hold it. Yeah.
You can fly away with it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, as Al said, Rob is at a very important meeting, and I'll just give you a little background because he agonized over a decision not to be here tonight. But this is the biggest hop supplier for craft brewers in the country. It's in the state of Washington, and he invites 5 craft breweries per year to come up and pre-select the hops for next year. So 5 of the 4,000 or so in the country, I think all of you would agree, he probably should have gone there.
Right.
So, so I'm honored to accept the award for Rob, and I'll read you a note that he left me for you. I am truly honored to be selected for this award. There are so many individuals and businesses in El Segundo doing remarkable things, and to be elected out of such a diverse and influential group is truly humbling. I just really view myself as a guy who is lucky enough to make beer for a living. I'm proud that El Segundo Brewing Company has contributed to the growth, visibility, and development of El Segundo as a destination. El Segundo Brewing Company is much bigger than just me, so I want to recognize my family, parents, El Segundo Brewing Company staff, the City of El Segundo, and certainly EDAC, and our customers. Cheers and enjoy the rest of the evening. And as a parent, I don't have to tell you how proud we are of Rob's accomplishments, not the least of which is this award. I sincerely hope the younger parents in the room get the opportunity to see your offspring reach for the stars and live their dreams as Rob is. So on the eve of our 47th anniversary of residence of El Segundo, and on behalf of the Croxall family, thank you very much for this award. Got it?
Good job. Good job.
Okay, thanks.
This next presenter is one of my favorite people. She's from day one. She's been a supporter of the Lakers, and in many ways, she's an honorary member of the team. So I'd like to welcome up Mayor Suzanne Fuentes, who's going to present the Champion of Business honoree.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Such an honor. Well, thank you for being all here tonight and the privilege of presenting the 2017 Champion of Business Award. Dr. Patrick Soon-Shiong is a remarkable visionary who is committed to finding a cure for cancer and advanced patient-centered healthcare solutions. We have a few words from last year's winner, Richard Lundquist, who couldn't be here tonight.
Good evening. It was an honor to receive El Segundo's Champion of Business Award last year, and I'm disappointed that I'm unable to attend the dinner tonight and present the award to this year's recipient, Dr. Patrick Soon-Shiong. I would like to take a moment to express my appreciation to all of you who are attending tonight. You are all champions of business who are helping to make El Segundo greater every year. And now, it is a privilege for me to congratulate Dr. Patrick Soon-Shiong on being honored as this year's El Segundo Champion of Business. In such a short period of time, Dr. Soon-Shiong has made great strides in enhancing the landscape of business in El Segundo by adding a cutting-edge cancer treatment center to our diverse roster of medical businesses. Dr. Soon-Shiong, welcome to our El Segundo business community, and congratulations on your recognition by the City of El Segundo and its Economic Development Advisory Council.
As Richard shared, the city recently celebrated the opening of the Chan Soon-Shiong Institute for Medicine, a cancer center that combines next-generation immuno-oncology with personalized patient care. Dr. Soon-Shiong is bringing medical research, state-of-the-art treatment facilities, advanced manufacturing, and pharmaceutical research and development to our city. The cure for cancer may be found right here in El Segundo. In a city where big ideas take off, this is a really big idea. So I want to thank you, Mrs. and Dr. Soon Xiang. Welcome and congratulations. Thank you so much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Give us a few words,
All right,
please.
sure. Mayor Fuentes, and thank you so much. Tim, I really love the MC job. You know, Tim told me not to say anything about the private statement he was going to make to me, so I won't, but I'll just tell you what he did say. He said, because of El Segundo, he's promised me we're going to get into the playoffs and to the finals this year. And I didn't tell anybody that, Tim, so. So, look, first of all, I really appreciate for us and for my family and Michelle, I want to thank my wife who's really put up with the pain and suffering of what we call the grand idea here. And Mayor Fuentes, I must thank the city manager, Greg Carpenter, and city planner, Sam Lee, who's made the team's effort here, Craig and Peter Knickerbock and Brian, and Chuck Kenworthy and Brian Titchener, who's really going to take an effort to really put, I think, El Segundo on the map as the biotech center, literally of the country and maybe of the world. And I want to show you why we have this kind of enthusiasm, if I may. And I hope this works. So, and I'm not going to give you a lecture because I know, but what I do want to do is share some, actually, literally some of them is breaking news in the sense that the first patient ever in the history of the United States now had received a treatment a couple of weeks ago on this thing called the natural killer cell. Each one of us in our body right now has this nature's cell that we were born with to kill cancer. It's never been tapped. So we were able to discover this cell and grow it in an unlimited supply so that it could attack and target the cancer. Sorry, full. And maybe why didn't you just play it full? And that cancer cell here, and this is a cell we are born with. These aren't basketballs, these are granzymes, bullets, that are put into, by the cancer, by this natural killer cell into the cancer and literally explodes the cell to protect us. Imagine then that if we could, and the next slide, Phil, take this cell and grow it in an unlimited supply for every cancer patient. And target that cell to this breast cancer cell. It could be a pancreas cell, a kidney cell, a liver cancer, brain cancer, any cancer, and target that cell so it would track it down and literally explode it. That's the cell that we've now discovered, developed. And that cell is what is needed, billions of them, for every cancer patient on this planet. It would be unconscionable for us to release this kind of information and not have the sufficient capacity. And I'll share with you this video that I did play at the opening to show you this is not a pipe dream. So Phil, if you could play that.
In 1977, I was diagnosed with sarcoma. After the radiation, I was free of cancer for the next 15 years. Then I was diagnosed with lymphoma, Hodgkin disease. I took chemo. 3.5 years later, cancer came back. It was in the spleen, the kidneys, the abdomen, the stomach, everywhere. So one day I went to see Dr. Keating because he was seeing me every 3 months. He says, we're doing a study, and it's called NK92 cells infusion.
We were using these malignant natural killer cells that were very effective killers in the lab, killers of other cancer cells.
After maybe about a year and a half, I had the call from Dr. Keating to go and see him. Well, he said, for the first time after so many years, he says, you're free of cancer. Do you think it's what we did, or do you think that was a miracle? Well, I said, I think it's both. And that was pretty close to what, 11 years ago?
And he remains in remission.
I went from being in bed to a wheelchair to a cane with no medication.
He hadn't received any other treatment either during or since the NK cells.
I asked Dr. Keating, what do you think happened to me? To my own cells. They forgot the duty they had to do. So maybe they got retrained.
Right there.
To boost up my immune system to start working again, to fight for me.
Oh, I was ideal.
For this treatment to be available to humankind, it would make me feel very happy. That I was part of it.
Thank you. So we launched this institute so that we can bring this to the country. But it was very clear that what we were going to do is very difficult because we're going to then challenge everything we've done for 40 years for cancer patients by giving the patient high-dose chemotherapy. In essence, what we've done inadvertently is wiped out every natural killer cell in every cancer patient. So we have to go against this change, and so we decided the way we're going to need to do is re-educate an entire cadre of doctors, scientists, nurses, and this was the Raytheon Research Facility in Mariposa, in El Segundo, and with the help of the city, and this is the DirecTV building, if some of you recognize, we've taken over both, and these will now become the state-of-the-art immunotherapy centers, and this is what we opened, so that we can actually provide this to the nation. But what is going to be needed is manufacturing of this kind of capacity, billions and billions of cells as universal cells for all cancer patients. So we are now up to 6 sites and 23 acres in Culver City, in El Segundo. Actually, to be truthful, we're also up to about 20 acres in Culver City, but we started there as a science center, and we've now moved this to El Segundo as the manufacturing and actually implementation. And this then could be, in our mind, a place where biotechnology, technology, sports, and I'm watching in this beautiful high school about to be built. If I may then indulge you with the opening that you...
Usually Patrick has this crazy, brilliant idea. Why don't we do such and such? And I go, okay. And then it comes down to a physical space.
Today marks the day in which we open what has been a lifelong dream. It marks the opening of the Chan Soon-Shiong Institute for Medicine.
We bring to the greater Los Angeles area the most comprehensive center to use the immune system to attack cancer.
And induce your body itself to fight the cancer using a cell in your body called the natural killer cell.
I remember being at one oncology meeting where a speaker said the problem with healthcare is that the care part has been lost. We went looking for it. And we think we found it.
We always believe that chemotherapy doesn't need to be toxic and metastatic disease doesn't need to be fatal. What will be happening in this building is the trials to prove the hypothesis that we can actually treat cancer patients without high-dose chemotherapy. We plan to transfuse a natural killer cell and then identify what's driving the tumor and giving you a vaccine injection like a flu shot.
It's been approximately 30 years since we met Patrick. We recognized that he had a new concept of medicine.
And if he can change through the beginning of this institution the way we look at medicine as a whole, we have a great debt to pay to Patrick and Michelle.
This institute will be doing this for all cancers, all tumor types, at all stages of disease. As you take the tour, it'll be hard for you to believe that 5 months ago, the facility didn't exist. I see this place as a complete imaging center. Tied to what we have upstairs is a complete infusion center, tied to the state-of-the-art radiation center. We believe in less than 6 months it'll be transformed into this vision of this next-generation diagnostic imaging therapy, radiation therapy, infusion therapy, natural killer cell therapy institute, so that we can actually educate this next generation of oncologists of the realm of the possible.
And I'm happy, I'm really happy to say, and this patient has allowed us, a 35-year-old patient with metastatic pancreatic cancer. We now have a patient with metastatic pancreatic cancer that very, very early on we pursued this hypothesis, and she's alive still, 11 years out, complete remission. So this patient has now received what you see here, the natural killer cells, and I'm happy to say, at Mariposa, at this clinic, and had failed other therapies, allowed me to say this. And after 2 weeks of infusion, his cancer blood levels of CA19-9 went to normal. So this hope is real, and I want to close with that and says this is a way in which, the next slide, we can lead the nation through California. So we've been pleased to say we've now, my wife and I, have taken on the challenge even further by taking on St. Vincent, St. Francis, which is downtown, the poorest of the poor, the Rampart District, and then move this all the way to Newport Beach and all the way to San Jose and San Francisco and Connor. And we believe this therapy should be for the poor as well as for the rich, and we will be able to bring this to this entire state and lead us towards really a different path for healthcare, and maybe a bipartisan pull together for a new healthcare transformation. So I want to thank you and really look forward to being part of the family here.
Wow. You know, I told you at the onset that, you know, when you have the job that I have, you get to do things that maybe you wouldn't otherwise have the opportunity to do. And, you know, in this job, I get the opportunity to sit with folks like Patrick, who you know, an amazing visionary, and you know, the CEO at UCLA Hospital has, you know, such designs to grow, and it's humbling. You know, it's amazingly humbling. And I sit there and I say to myself, when I sit with folks like Patrick and Janice, and I say, I am hands down not the smartest person in this conversation. And I say that because it should provide us hope for where we're going forward. unless you're a Laker fan, and then you should be really worried because I'm not the smartest guy in the room. So this brings us to the end of our journey tonight. And I want to add some final notes. I want to thank the event committee for making this such a wonderful event. I want to thank you all for staying on time. Al, we'll talk later. A couple of special thank yous. You know, I want to thank Al and Barbara, but a few of the other folks, and I'd like you to stand up, please, if you would, for making this event come together. Lily Craig. Thank you, Lily. Marcia Hanson. Sandy Jacobs. So, you know, I'm gonna close with this. In December, we had this player who was kind of good for us. He played for 20 or so years and couldn't make up his mind about what number to wear. He was 24, he was 8. He couldn't decide, and so he had an okay career, and we're going to honor him on December 18. And so when you arrived tonight, you were given the opportunity to put your business card in a bowl for 2 tickets to December 18 when we retire Kobe's jerseys. You know, I have to tell you, when we talked about it, we were talking about, do we do 24, do we do 8? And I kept saying, well, if we do 24, who's going to wear 8? And if we do 8, who would ever wear 24? And so we decided we absolutely have to do both. So on December 18, we're going to retire both jerseys, which has never been done. And so we want to draw the winner of that, who's going to win 2 tickets to that night, which is it's going to be an amazingly special night that probably won't be seen again, because an NBA player won't play for a team for 20 years ever again.
And before we draw that winning card, and I talked to Tim about that, and he told me, you know, Al, put up about 8 cards together, make it the heaviest card so your card gets selected. So I did that. I put 20 of them together, and so your chances are slim to none. But before we go on to drawing the prize, you know, I got to agree with Tim. Dr. Sunshine, you are very humble. You know, I don't know if you know Hawaii, but people like me, when we hear you, we got the aloha. It comes from the heart. And if I can, I'd like to call you Patrick. I'd like to call your wife Michelle. You're part of our community. And for me, I mean that. You've got the aloha spirit in you. And if you bring up what you're doing here, I believe in your process. I don't want chemotherapy if I ever go through this stuff. I want to do what you're telling us that we could do. And I think all of us tonight, with the standing ovation, you heard it. And it was a humbling experience just to hear it. I tell you, it was a knee-jerker for me just to hear you talk about it. In your presentation, the way you presented, your voice, the calmness of how you did it. I think all of us, if you all agree, clap. Agree. It's an honor. It's really an honor, you know. And I know you're a global person. Everybody's calling on you. Presidents from different countries, you know, wherever. Just the privilege of you being here with us for a couple of hours. I mean, can you imagine this guy staying with us tonight? Huh? Come on, give him applause. You got a great gatekeeper in Jed Hudson. I mean, she is on you, I mean, I tell you, stop. But we understand. We truly understand how many people want you at these kind of events. We're truly privileged. El Segundo is privileged. And I don't know if you get it from me, but I'm telling you, brother, aloha. You in? Thank you. Sorry about the Hawaiian lingo. I gotta go that route. The Hawaiian is in me, you know. Can't help it. Now I would like to say a special thank you to Chevron and their team of Henry Cush, Rod Spackman, Jeff Wilson, Doug Getty, Lily Craig. You know, over the last 4 years, this company has supported economic development in our city with over $875,000 in grant funding. Their unwavering support has helped us achieve our marketing and business goals, the attraction and business goals, and other tactical initiatives. They're an incredible partner. Mahalo to you, Henry. And before I call on Henry, the general manager of Chevron's refinery, to come on up, and I'm going to let you wait to win the tickets, but I got the most cards in there right now. I want to show you a short video on Chevron.
This is a story about doers, LAX, and jet fuel.
A lot of jet fuel.
Over 75 million doers fly in and out of LAX every year, and a third of them don't have an armrest. All that flying takes a lot of jet fuel and a lot of doing.
Right here at Chevron's El Segundo refinery.
And the doers at Chevron have been in El Segundo since the very beginning. Making jet fuel even before LAX was LAX. Flying doers on their way to business trips and vacations and family reunions. And, well, you get the idea. That's doers, fueling California doing at LAX.
So ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Henry Cush, General Manager of the El Segundo Refinery.
Thank you.
Tight end.
Tight end. My son works for the New England Patriots, but as an analyst, not a. Thank you, Al, and thank you also for your tireless dedication to the City of El Segundo, and especially your leadership to the EDAC. I'd also like to thank and congratulate Francois and Van. I think you're over here somewhere, yes. Dick, on behalf of Rob, I appreciate that he's up there because I'm a customer. And especially humbling for Dr. Sun Xiang, the work you're doing. But from the broader economic perspective and the partnerships you're bringing to the community, we really appreciate that as Chevron El Segundo. I'd like to pause for a second and invite the City Council members to come up here for a little presentation we're going to make. From the time our refinery was built here in El Segundo back in 1911, we've taken great pride in helping to develop and sustain the economic vitality of the region. And we commend both the City Council, EDAC, and everybody in this room for the tremendous work in fostering the economic growth and support of our beloved community. In recognition of EDAC's ongoing mission to define El Segundo as a city where big ideas take off, and on behalf of the El Segundo refinery, I'm honored to present to you a new grant from Chevron for $125,000 for the continuing support of EDAC.
And now, can I get those tickets for Kobe's ding, or
All right.
do we have to disqualify anybody?
Can we get the bowl that has all of Al's cards? Al, you want me to pull the one that's really thick, right?
Right.
All right, I can't look at this. I can't look at this. All right, you guys have to tell me when I can pull it.
Pull.
That one? All right, Al.
Sir. Should I pull, or you got it?
The winner is Tim's Kids. Mary Anderson.
Oh, wow.
Hilton Garden Inn. Where's Mary? Accepting the award on behalf of Mary is Al.
Fantastic, Mary.
Great job, Mary. We will be in touch. This concludes the festivities for tonight. We appreciate you all coming. We appreciate your support. We look forward to seeing you all next year. We'll make next year an even better event, and we will be more on point.
MC.
And we'll talk about the MC next year. Thank you all for coming.